It just is destroyed and it's ruined. And then you have to start all over again. And honestly, where do you start? How do you start in this?
We've had
people in Florida beginning to rebuild after that emotional hurricane and devastating hurricane hit the coast of Florida yesterday as the storm continues moving away from the state and closer to other communities.
A murder suspect in court again today. His brother already took the stand this morning, and he may not be the only family member we hear from today.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
New this noon, after nearly 2 days of relentless effort and determination, one of the parents involved in a protest outside the offices of the Uvalde Consolidated ISD spoke to Superintendent Hal Harrell face to face.
Parents are demanding the district suspend the officers who stood in the hallway for 77 minutes during the May 24th massacre at Robb Elementary. As Jonathan Coulter reports, the parents involved in today's one-on-one talk broadcast the interaction on social media.
You said you want to be transparent? Be transparent.
I'll be happy to meet with you individually inside, bro. If not, I've got to move on.
Today, after 2 days of camping outside of the school district's door, Brett Cross, Usaya Garcia's guardian, had a chance to talk to Superintendent Hal Harrell. The question on the table: why haven't the officers who stood in the hallway inside Robb Elementary for 77 minutes during the May 24th shooting been suspended?
How can you sit there and not care when those officers... No, you don't, because those officers were in that hallway.
There was a lot of officers in that hallway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And listen, we've given you 18 weeks. When we do school board meetings, y'all just sit there with blank faces on and everything.
Harrell's response to Cross:
just like the city, just like the sheriff's office, I need those officers.
You need 5 officers, right? You got employed?
We got 5 employed.
Mm-hmm. You need 5 officers. DPS can't fill in for 5 officers.
Well, my understanding is the work that the campus officers do is different than what DPS is willing to do at this point.
In a statement released to KSAT on Wednesday, the school district says, based on what they understand the group's questions to be, they say they are engaged with the Texas Police Chiefs Association to conduct a management and organizational review of the Uvalde CISD Police Department, and do not have an expected completion date for these reviews, but parents are over the inaction and demand suspension.
My son is dead because of the inactions of your school district, of the city, of all the police involved, starting with the school, to the city, to the state. They all failed. They all failed. Yeah. If you're sorry, then do something.
The video recording was roughly about 10.5 minutes. There were other parents waiting to speak with the superintendent, but he insisted in meeting individually. As for the suspension request, as you heard, the superintendent says that's dependent on investigations. Now, this is a story we're going to continue to follow closely. For more, you can head on over to our website, ksat.com. Reporting, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Now to the devastation left behind by Hurricane Ian. That storm surge from the hurricane washed away part of Florida's Sanibel Causeway. The causeway is the only way to get to or from Sanibel and Captiva Islands to the state's mainland.
The roadway that was washed away is on the ramp up to the causeway's second bridge. Hurricane Ian is now moving away from Florida as a tropical storm. It was downgraded after hitting the state as powerful Category 4 hurricane.
ABC's Justin Finch shows us the damage as search and rescue efforts continue.
Ian making history as one of the most powerful hurricanes to ever make landfall in Florida, decimating parts of the state.
This storm is having broad impacts across the state, and some of the flooding you're going to see in areas hundreds of miles from where this made landfall are going to set records.
2.5 million Floridians told to evacuate, but some who chose to stay had to be rescued by first responders. High water levels prompting drastic rescue calls in Lee County.
Caller reporting a sinking vehicle, unknown if he's breathing. Caller disconnected.
Many still waiting for help.
We have thousands of calls on 911 that are prioritized, and we're answering as we speak. There are thousands of people that are waiting to be rescued.
ABC's Ginger Z facing the eye wall.
We see these winds, and that little house that we were talking about all day has gone.
succumbed to the storm surge. Now the blue roof is all that's left floating in the water toward the building.
Fort Myers flooded with up to a 12-foot storm surge, shredding structures to pieces, debris floating in the streets, cars submerged. This floating debris was once someone's house. In Naples, Kimberly Walker telling ABC about the moments water began to seep into her home.
The water got to be a lot more and a lot more and a lot more. And it was just, it didn't matter what you did. The water started coming into my home, reaching about mid-thigh. I knew I had to get out.
In the city of Punta Gorda, water service is out. A boil water advisory in effect until further notice. And power has been restored to more than 1 million customers. Next, portable cell phone towers will go up across Southwest Florida once it's deemed safe to do so. Justin Finch, ABC News, Tampa.
And you are looking live at North Port, Florida. That's on the west side of Florida. You're looking at flooded streets and flooded cars and people just kind of wandering around trying to figure out what to do next, how to take care of the situation. Actually, a car is actually able to drive across the street right there, but you can see how deep that water still is. And now that hurricane has made it to the east side of Florida, but it's still pounding the coast.
And this is just north of Fort Myers, so this is going to be a long road of recovery and cleanup for these residents.
Yeah, you heard that. Water's out, power's out, cell service is out. So this is a slow process, and they'll get it going next couple of days. But there is a lot of cleanup to go there on the west coast of Florida. Meantime, the east coast of Florida now getting hit hard by some rainfall. We've got a new update here. So this is the newest update from the National Hurricane Center, and it shows that Ian is a strong tropical storm. Winds are at 70 miles per hour, but it has reemerged now into the Atlantic. It has winds gusting to 85, and it's moving north-northeast at 9 miles per hour. And you can see some of the heavy rain on the northwest side of it, Daytona Beach up to Jacksonville. Here's the change, though. Now that it is over water, the Hurricane Center thinks this will reform or develop further, I should say, into a Category 1 storm. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference here. We reported that it would be making landfall there in South Carolina with 70 mile per hour winds. You get it up to 75 mile per hour winds. It's a Category 1 hurricane. Doesn't really make that much difference. The bottom line is there's still going to be storm surge here in South Carolina, some strong winds and more flooding to come with this storm as it moves north and northwest. And then eventually falling apart over the mountains of North Carolina there, but still bringing some pretty heavy rain. So this is still going to be a problem even into the weekend. And you look at the rainfall, we talked about the storm surge, which was huge there on the west side of Florida, but the rain, 15 to 20 inches in some cases from just south of Tampa, north to Orlando, Daytona Beach. These numbers are huge, and there's a lot of flooding still going on, even though the rain has stopped. And there's one more look at Ian as it churns there up the east coast of Florida. We're going to have more on this, plus our forecast, which is much, much nicer. We've got clear skies out there, and we'll talk more about that here in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, Justin. We do want to mention that we will be hosting another phone bank on Monday in partnership with the Red Cross to raise money for relief efforts in Florida. The phone lines will be open from noon till 7 on Monday, and we will let you know what that phone number is on that day.
Right now, police are asking for your help as search for a missing 13-year-old boy on the west side continues. Police say Aiden Anthony Guevara was last seen in the 200 block of Bradford Avenue. That's not far from Culebra Road and North General McMullen Drive. At the time, he was riding a black beach cruiser bicycle. He is 4 feet 8 inches tall, weighs 110 pounds, and has brown eyes and brown hair. If you know something that can help police find him, call SAPD at 210-207-7660.
The trial for a man accused of fatally shooting his stepfather continues today, and we could hear more from his family in court. Jaron Diego Garcia charged with the March 2021 murder of 49-year-old Mark Ramos. Now, this morning, testimony began with Garcia's 16-year-old brother on the stand. He told the jury this morning about the history of domestic abuse between his mom and Ramos, and that the night of the shooting, Ramos and his mother were drunk and arguing. At some point, he says that he and Jaron walked out of the room, and Ramos and Jaron started fighting. When that stopped, Jaron went to get his gun. The brother said that that's when Ramos threw a speaker at Jaron, and that's when he started shooting. There has been some credibility issues come up with the brother, as he admitted the night of the shooting he didn't see the actual shooting happen, or that Ramos was fighting with his mother to police. He admitted he lied because he was scared. Garcia's mother is also expected to testify.
San Antonio police have a lot of questions about a deadly crash, starting with why did it happen? A man apparently ran into traffic on Highway 281 near Sunset Road and was killed. Katrina Weber shows us the impact it had on many other people.
A man finds consolation in the midst of devastation. The woman who told us she was his wife came to his side on Highway 281 near Sunset Drive after a deadly crash. She says her husband, who had been headed to work, called her around 6 this morning. He told her he had hit a man who darted out in front of him. While another driver was able to swerve, she says her husband told her he couldn't avoid him. The man who was hit died. Police were not able to say if the driver faced any charges. For hours, they kept the southbound lanes closed so they could investigate. They appeared to question anyone who saw what happened and looked for clues on their own. Other drivers, meanwhile, had to steer clear of the area. Police pushed traffic onto the access road until their work on the highway was done. Despite all their investigation here, police still don't know why that person was on the highway in the middle of busy traffic in the dark. And sadly, those are questions they may not be able to answer. Reporting from the north side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Another crash earlier this morning. San Antonio police still searching for the driver involved in this crash. It happened on Pecan Grove, not far from East South Cross. And this is on the city's southeast side.
Police say a caller heard the crash and then saw a car on fire. They say it looks like the driver took out at least one brick mailbox before the car burst into flames. When officers got to the scene, the driver was gone. Right now, there haven't been any reports of any injuries.
Still coming up this half hour, the Dallas defense leads the league in sacks. Now, two of those defensive players are trying to see who can lead the team in sacks. Larry Ramirez with the friendly competition.
An award-winning filmmaker is coming back to his roots the way an East Side native is giving back to his community. Coming up.
Students in a new media arts program on the East Side will get to learn from seasoned professionals in the film industry.
And it's special for not only the students, but for the instructors, too.
I was told that I wouldn't be able to make it in filmmaking from the East Side.
Datmain Dwayne grew up on the East Side of San Antonio. Today, he is an award-winning filmmaker and one of the instructors of the new East Side Youth Content Creation Program.
I have movies out there such as Policing, currently a sitcom called The Odd Life of Shay Little. And what I bring to the program is the experience that I have in being an independent filmmaker and the trials and tribulations that we go through and how to overcome those things.
The 6-week program held at Alamo City Studios is designed to teach high school students how to take their content from script to screen.
The studio being here on the East Side in District 2, it's something that gives our students or here on the East Side something to look forward to, something to grow from, and something to build from right out of their own backyard.
The new program shows students how to use film equipment, how to write scripts, and even learn how to act.
I worked in Chicago, LA, and the Texas markets.
Kat Steffens has 20 years of experience in professional acting and is another instructor of this program.
I can bring a lot of real world sort of acting experience for these kids and also teach them how to be a working actor, because there's a difference between acting as a hobby and acting for a profession.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
Back outside with live cam, absolutely gorgeous these days. Nice cool mornings, a little warm in the afternoon, and then cool evenings.
It feels nice. How long will it last?
A while longer. There's not much to complain about. I agree with you guys. The weather's been beautiful, other than to say we could use a little bit of rain. We're going to take a look at the drought monitor coming up here in just a couple minutes. First, the aquifer, it's still falling. It's down 0.2 of a foot to 631 even. That's not a good number. And as we look at the pollen count, mold still elevated, but down from yesterday, moderate at 880. Ragweed is moderate. It's been there most of the week, and pigweed is low. We look at the weekend forecast. We talk about the drought, and another glance at that 7-day forecast is coming up.
Trying to figure out if we should look forward to Thursdays or if we should kind of dread Thursdays these days, because we know what Thursdays what Thursday is.
Yes.
What's
What
all
is-
about Thursdays?
It's Drought Monitor Day.
That's right, David. You've been paying attention, man. I like that. It is Drought Monitor Day, and every time we look at it, it just seems like it's bad news. We had a stretch there where things improved, right? Well, now we're going the other way again. This was last week, and there's not a huge change this week. As I go to the next graphic here, you can see the difference right there. Not a huge change, but there is a change. And what I'll point out is that the exceptional drought here in northwestern Bexar County is starting to creep in a little bit closer to the city. New Braunfels, Seguin, San Antonio. These are areas that have been hit hard by lack of rainfall this year. And it really has been right up and down this I-35 corridor here. You get out into the hill country, there has been some rain in recent months that helped out. But the drought is starting to expand again. And this lack of rainfall, well, it's as you know, not a good thing. And the aquifer is still dropping too. As we look at Medina Lake, it's down to 7.5%, still falling, and down 12.9 feet over the last 3 months. So let's go outside for you and look at the time lapse. We've had clear skies most of the day. Beautiful start again. We got down to 60 this morning, right where we were last couple of mornings, and that's where we'll be next several mornings. 85 degrees right now, west-northwesterly winds at about 5 miles per hour. Dew point trend. Well, dew points try to creep up a little bit today, but not noticeably, and that'll be the case tomorrow. You'll see dew points in the upper 40s. It's still dry. We get a shot of some drier air by the weekend, and that keeps dew points relatively low, even going into next week. So the trend of cool mornings and nice afternoons pretty much stays in place. We'll see that big swing today. So 60 this morning, we go all the way up to 91 degrees this afternoon. Of course, people are asking, what about football tonight? We've got some football games. By the time we get into the evening, it cools off pretty quickly. So most of the football games, it'll be fairly comfortable. But we are expecting that 31-degree swing in temperatures today. 90 in Fair Oaks Ranch this afternoon, 92 in New Braunfels. A lot of places will be 90 to 92 here around San Antonio and Point South, and then you'll find some 80s in the hill country, places like Kerrville and Bernie, upper 80s today. Let's talk a little more about Ian, which right now is still a tropical storm. Gusts to 85, and all the heavy rain is for the most part on the north side. So it's the east coast here of Florida, Daytona Beach up to Jacksonville, that's getting a lot of heavy rain at this hour. The track takes it north pretty quickly, and by tomorrow morning, this is approaching South Carolina as a Category 1 storm, winds of about 75 miles per hour. There will be storm surge with this, and more heavy rain and more strong winds. There could be a little more damage here in the Carolinas before it weakens this weekend over the mountains of North Carolina. And let's talk about tropical connection here. There's not really rain for us from these tropical systems, but Ian does actually throw some, or help to throw some dry air in our direction. So on the backside of Ian, we're getting some dry air plunging into Texas, and that's why things get a little bit drier over the weekend. But we're also watching Orlene, Tropical Storm Orlene in the Pacific. This moves north, becomes Category 2 storm, and affects the western part of Mexico. This doesn't bring us rain either, but it does throw some high-level moisture in our direction, some high clouds. And you'll notice that Sunday into Monday. It'd be nice if it brought us some rain, but it's just far too dry at the surface, so we're not going to get anything out of this other than some clouds. And I'll tell you, that probably cools us down a little bit Sunday into Monday. 89 Friday, 89 Saturday, 88 Sunday, 86 on Monday, and there are those extra clouds. That's about all we can give you at this point. Some extra clouds. We need some extra rain at the end of the day, guys.
But I'll take it.
We'll take it.
All right, thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
Spurs have so many young guys, it's almost like they don't know what they don't know. But Pop's going to teach them what they need to know.
Exactly. With the addition of 3 19, no, that makes sense, David. It really does, yeah. With the addition of 3 19-year-olds, the roster is definitely younger compared to last season. There's only 2 guys on the Spurs roster that are 30 years or older coming up. Josh Richardson, who is, I believe, 27 or 28 years old, really is impressed with these young guys. Plus, in the NFL, Texans quarterback Davis Mills, is he feeling the pressure to be the dude over there? Coming up.
Just jammed it midway through the Denver game. I mean, not worried about it at all, yeah, and just had it taped early on last week because it was still a little bruised and swollen, but it's completely fine now.
Texans quarterback Davis Mills says his right thumb injury is now behind him in big board sports. Led by Coach Pop and a trio of 19-year-old rookies, the Spurs are getting ready for a brand new season of basketball. The roster is very young, mixed in with a handful of older guys like 29-year-old Josh Richardson, 30-year-old Doug McDermott, and 26-year-old Jakob Poeltl. Richardson, now in his 8th NBA season, likes how the young guys are bringing it at practice.
I mean, so far from what I've seen, they're competitive, you know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. They got a little talkative today, and I appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, the guys are playing hard, and it's not all going to come together, you know, early or, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But as long as we playing hard, communicating, and just, you know, playing for the team, I'm good with it. So
we know who we are. We got a bunch of young talent. A lot of guys have worked their tails off this summer to get better, the guys that were here last year. And obviously we have 3 new 19-year-olds, so it's pretty crazy. But, you know, my job and Josh's job and Jakob is just to be a good veteran presence and show them how to be professionals.
Spurs will open preseason play at the Houston Rockets Sunday night at 6.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Dallas Cowboys defense was one of the highlights of their 23-16 victory against the Giants. They got the quarterback Daniel Jones with 5 sacks, 3 of those coming from DeMarcus Lawrence on his career night. That now puts him 1 sack behind Micah Parsons, who has 4, and who was in the background shouting at Tank during this interview after the game.
You know, it feels great to actually be him. You know, all glory to God. But, you know, I mean, the first 2 games didn't go as well as I planned, and, you know, had to, you know, keep going out fighting each and every day, you know, to get to these sacks. And, I mean, they just come in bunches. So, you know, I was just, you know, all glory to God.
We'll see what the Dallas D can do against another division opponent, the Washington Commanders, this Sunday. Houston Texans quarterback Davis Mills had his worst game of the season in Chicago, throwing 2 interceptions, along with 1 touchdown pass in the Texans' 23-20 loss to the Bears. His final pick, which was tipped, set up the game-winning field goal for Chicago. So is Davis feeling any pressure from the Texans to see if he's the long-term option at quarterback?
There's pressure as being the starting quarterback. I'm not looking that far ahead of it. I'm taking this, I mean, really 1 practice at a time, 1 week at a time right now. So I'm just going out there, put my best foot forward each day for my teammates, and trying to win games.
You know, we can be better, absolutely. I look in the mirror and myself, I can be better. And if every person can do that and then bring that collectively, I think that's helped us get, you know, really on the same page with all of us, actually.
Texans will host the LA Chargers Sunday at noon.
So Josh Richardson says there's a little talking going on out there.
Yes. Yeah, that competitive fire going on.
Who's doing all the talking, you think?
Maybe we should ask.
Yeah, interesting to find out. Thanks, Larry. Talking, how about some weird noises over a plane's PA system and some passengers laughing, others worried? And it wasn't just one flight that was affected. What the airline says led to those odd noises.
And new today at 5, many of the cleaning products on the market these days claim to be better for the environment. But how green are they? We'll show you which ones experts say might not be as green as they claim to be. That's today at 5 after Entertainment Tonight. Hurricane Ian has left a path of destruction in southwest Florida. That includes a hospital just north of Fort Myers. The storm surge flooded its lower level emergency room. Meanwhile, as a doctor explains, fierce winds tore away part of the roof.
We weren't quite expecting it to be this bad. We'll typically plan and have a bunch of us doctors and nurses and other staff members sleep in the hospital. So here, unfortunately, today we had about 160 patients in-house, and our roof blew off, part of the roof on the ICU.
The damage forced patients into just 2 of the floors. This video is from a neighbor in Port Charlotte, the area where the hospital is located. You can see just how hard that community was hit.
Yeah, Ian, now one of the strongest hurricanes to ever hit the U.S., dumped a ton of water, leading to dangerous flooding. And speaking of nurses, that's a nurse driving that car right there. She got stuck in flood waters. A reporter is able to help bring her to safety. That's Tony Atkins of WESH-TV 2 News in Orlando. He got the woman out of the car, then carried her on his back. She says she was on her way to work as a nurse when she got stuck.
Incredible video.
Outside with live cam, once again, that's a shot near Fort Myers on the west coast of Florida. You can see some traffic is able to move across that intersection. Still a car stuck right there, so hopefully those waters are starting to recede. However, We know that hurricane is now, is it a hurricane or is it a tropical storm on the East Coast right now?
It's a tropical storm. It's reemerged out into the Gulf, or into the Atlantic, I should say. So there's going to be some slight strengthening going on here the next couple of days. It may redevelop or grow stronger into a Category 1 hurricane. We're going to have more on that in just a bit. First, I want to take a look across the country because it's been pretty nice. You know, we've been remarking on the weather here, how nice it's been. We're not alone. Much of the country is dealing with great weather, obviously with the exception of Florida. And right now, we're one of the warmest places in the country, even though it feels pretty good outside. We're at 85. Phoenix is the only other spot that is dealing with warmer temperatures at this hour, 87 there. Most of the country, though, dealing with 50s and 60s. You can see up and down the mountains some great weather there. So if you're heading out to some of the football games tonight, it looks really good. We're going to have clear skies. And at kickoff, still a little warm, 86. But once that sun goes down, and that happens at 7:22, so pretty quickly into those games that start around 7 o'clock, you'll see temperatures fall around 78 by halftime. Light and variable winds, can't complain about that. And the weekend forecast, not bad either. 89 on Saturday, 88 Sunday. We will see some more clouds by Sunday afternoon. And that'll be the case on Monday, too. But we keep with this trend of pretty nice weather going into next week, guys.
Thanks, Justin. Today, Russia announced plans to formally annex territories of Ukraine on Friday.
ABC's Elizabeth Schultze reports the move would mark a major escalation of President Putin's invasion of Ukraine.
In a brazen violation of international law, Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to formally annex 4 territories of Ukraine. The Kremlin justifying the move by citing the results of staged elections in the Russian-occupied Ukrainian regions. Those elections have been widely condemned by the U.S. and its allies, who vow additional sanctions on Russia.
We will never recognize these illegal and illegitimate attempts at annexation.
The regions Putin plans to annex are not fully controlled by Russian forces as Ukrainians continue to defend their soil. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky declaring these brutal violations of the UN Charter must be punished. As Putin doubles down on the war, thousands of Russians continue to flee his military draft. Finland now closing its borders with Russia.
The aim of the resolution is to halt Russian tourism into Finland and transit through Finland to other Schengen countries.
Also today, NATO is formally blaming Russia for sabotage of the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, which transport natural gas from Russia to Europe under the Baltic Sea.
We have to rethink how we are preserving, how we are making our critical infrastructure more resilient. And it's not going to be an easy task, and it's not going to be an easy task in plain winter.
A Swedish official today confirmed a 4th leak on the pipeline. The Kremlin denies any involvement with the leaks. Elizabeth Schultze, ABC News, Washington.
American businesses are still adding workers. The Labor Department reports the number of first-time unemployment benefits claims tumbled to 193,000 last week. Weekly claims haven't fallen below 200,000 since May of this year, and the amount was much lower than the 215,000 applications forecasted by economists, according to Refinitiv. Analysts say this shows companies are doing their best to hold on to workers as vacant positions remain high.
Still coming up this half hour, 2 powerhouses in local high school football button heads tomorrow night. One of them will have their first loss in district play.
It's not quite Halloween, but spooky sights and sounds are already in the air. Passengers on several flights were shocked after some unsettling noises started sounding over the PA system. Hear what the airline says is causing the noises. Still ahead.
It's nearly October, and that means it'll be spooky season. And while scary movies might be a lot of fun, one place you don't want any scares or surprises on an airline 30,000 feet above the ground.
That's exactly what passengers on several American Airlines flights experienced when they heard moans and groans over the plane's PA system. However, as CNN's Jeannie Mose reports, at least one passenger enjoyed the free in-flight entertainment.
Fasten your seatbelt, because this is not your captain speaking. Emerson Collins was a passenger on an American Airlines flight from Los Angeles to Dallas. The weird noises over the plane's PA system began before takeoff and continued on and off during the flight.
It sounds like someone is struggling gastrointestinally or something.
For Emerson's traveling co-worker, it was a WTF experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, we realize there is an extremely irritating sound coming over the public announcements. None of us are enjoying it.
I was like, it's not irritating to me. I'm finding it sort of hilarious.
Theories ranged from, is someone hacking into American Airlines in-flight PA systems, to planes haunted. Who you gonna call? But wait, my wife and I experienced this during an American Airlines flight in July. Passengers on at least 3 flights heard moaning and screaming sounds over the PA.
The captain comes on and says, there's no need to be concerned. This will not affect the flight controls, which is great.
American Airlines put out a statement. The PA systems aboard our aircraft are hardwired, and there is no external access. The airline said our maintenance team thoroughly inspected the aircraft and the PA system and determined the sounds were caused by a mechanical issue with the PA amplifier. Yeah, well, maybe it is some kind of bizarre feedback. But try telling that to the poster who whimsically theorized flying hurts the clouds and their screams are picked up by the PA system. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
His face says it all.
I mean, what can you say? What in the world would that be?
When David is in loss of words, you already know.
That's when you know. No explanation.
I had some good facial expressions, though. He was sitting there thinking this is going to be a story. I'm going to make this into a story. Watch. Jeannie Mose will pick this up.
Oh, he was right.
And she did.
Sure did. Anyway.
Okay.
85 degrees so far today. 60 was the low this morning. Felt great out there. Averages are 87 and 66. So we were below average for the low, but we'll be above average for the high. Records are 97 and 47. Thankfully, 97 is not in the cards. That was set back in 2019. We look ahead to the weekend and we talk a little bit more about the tropics. What else is out there beyond Ian? We take a look coming up.
Love the beautiful days, but man, we need some water. Any hope of any rain anytime, like in the next, 6 months?
I'm sure there will be something in the next 6 months. We can only hope. But I would say in the next week, there is nothing. We have dry air in place, pretty much sunny skies, well, with the exception of Sunday and Monday, a little more cloud cover. But no rain with that cloud cover. And the country itself is just pretty quiet. The one show we've got going on there is in Florida, of course, and now moving into the Atlantic with Ian, which has just been a devastating hurricane. But everywhere else, other than a few showers in the Rockies, it's quiet weather pattern. There's not much rain to be had. And as we look a little closer at Ian, not as organized on satellite and radar as was yesterday, obviously, because this is a weakened system, but it may gather a little bit more strength here over the next 24 hours as it moves north into the Atlantic. The heavy rain is on the north side of the circulation, so Jacksonville to Daytona Beach still getting a ton of heavy rain. There's still going to be some flooding up and down the I-95 corridor there. But as we look at the statistics here, it has 70-mile-per-hour winds gusting to 85, and it's moving north-northeast at 9. Now it has moved back out over the water. By tomorrow morning, probably a Category 1 storm. Winds are going to be near 75 miles per hour, and this is going to impact places like Charleston, South Carolina. Keep in mind there's a lot of lowlands here, so storm surge going to cause more flooding there in parts of the Carolinas, and then some heavy rain moving up into parts of North Carolina. There have been some college football games and things like that moved or canceled this weekend because of Ian and the rain it will likely produce. Ian is not the only thing out there. We want to look out in the tropics. Keep in mind, we still are very much in our tropical season. And as we look out over the Atlantic, we've got tropical depression number 11 that has developed. Now, I don't think we have to worry too much about this. Notice that it looks really ragged here And this probably stays out over open water or moves north, so it's not going to be a problem. But as we said at 12 o'clock, during the 12 o'clock half hour, we've got a new tropical storm out in the Pacific. This is Orline, and it will strengthen as it moves up towards Mexico, and then eventually weaken as it moves over the western part of Mexico. But it's going to throw some clouds in our direction, and by Sunday and Monday, we'll have some high-level clouds to deal with. The only problem, it doesn't bring any rain. It's just cloud cover. That's it. So we don't really get any real benefits from Orline other than those clouds. Lows this morning down to 60 here in town, but it got down to 53 Kerrville, 54 in Fredericksburg, 60 in Cotulla. It was another great start. There were a lot of 50s on the map, and probably see that again tomorrow morning. Right now, we've got 85 degrees at the airport, sunny skies, and west-northwesterly winds at about 5. Dew point is down to 48. And I can promise you the temperature is not 103 in New Braunfels. Why it's reading that, I don't know. It is not that hot there, thankfully. 85 Gonzales, 88 Pleasanton, 84 in Hondo. And around Bexar County, we've got mid-80s at the moment. Dew points are in the 40s, and there are some low 50s out there, but you can't feel the humidity, and you won't over the next couple of days. So the KSAT 12-hour forecast, 90 at 3 o'clock. We're up around 91 for a high today, but it quickly cools down this evening. We're already into the 70s by 10 p.m., 77 degrees. Light winds and clear skies. In the extended forecast, I mentioned those added clouds Sunday and Monday. And they're there. They drag temperatures down a little bit. 88 Sunday, 86 on Monday, but still no rain in that forecast. We'll be right back.
Definitely some relief getting to 61. You know, you try not to think about it, but it creeps into your head.
After going 7 straight games without a home run, Aaron Judge finally hits number 61 last night in big board sports. When UTSA meets Middle Tennessee tomorrow night, it'll mark the 3rd straight season the Roadrunners have opened up conference play against the Blue Raiders. It's the 5th overall meeting between the two sides. Now, while the Roadrunners are 2-2 overall this season, the Blue Raiders are 3-1, including last week's upset of Miami 45-31. So this will be a huge challenge for the Roadrunners defense.
They got a good receiver core. You know, they guys who gonna compete each and every play. So we got to be on our play.
They just ran right by Miami. They've got unbelievable speed. Those guys are 10-4, 10-5, 10-6 guys that have been playing a long time. They've been doing that system for a long time. You know, their quarterback came in the game last year and immediately led them down the field, 2 touchdowns when he got out there. He's been playing really well, and he played really good in that game against Miami.
Kickoff Friday night will be at 6:30 p.m. The big game in our big game coverage this Friday night features the number 5 Johnson Jaguars against the number 6 Brandeis Broncos for the lead in District 28 6A. The Broncos come into this game on top of the 4-1 overall record, 3-0 in district with victories against O'Connor, Marshall, Lee, and Madison, with their only loss against number 2 Brennan. While the Jaguars are right behind the Broncos at 3-1, 2-0 in district with their only loss to Judson 46-43 in overtime in their season opener in the KSAT 12 Pigskin Classic 2022.
Johnson's a really good team. We're a really good team. I think it's gonna be an exciting game. Go out there, both teams just show off what we got, and hopefully we'll go away with the dub. But we'll see how it goes.
They're skilled. They're fast. They're quick. They play really well, and they just use a lot of different things.
A really big team, skilled team too. They're gonna give us a good matchup, but obviously I think we'll come out victorious.
Kickoff between number 5 Johnson, number 6 Brandeis is Friday night at 7 at Comalander Stadium. The Yankees taking on the Blue Jays last night. Aaron Judge still looking for home run number 61, and he got it in the top of the 7th with a 2-run shot to left field, tying former Yankee great Roger Maris for the most homers in a single season in American League history.
Getting a chance to be connected with, a baseball legend and a great family is I can't even describe it right now. It's just so such an honor. What Maris, did in this game, how he played the game, what type of person he was. Getting to be linked with him forever is, a moment that I definitely will never forget.
Aaron's mom and Roger Maris Jr. were both at the game in Toronto, and Judge has 7 regular season games to go to try and break that record.
You'll probably get it. I love when you run the sound bites from the high school kids because I learn a whole new language and I get caught up.
You learn all the cool lingo?
Like the dub.
Yeah.
I thought you went after a win, but apparently a dub is a win.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
Got it?
Dub.
Got to get the dub. Speaking of winners, let's take it downtown. Look at that.
I agree with you, David.
Yes, that's how to stay hip.
Hey, today, we tried. Today is the pick-me-up day.
That's right. It is National Coffee Day, and helping us get a jolt of caffeine to celebrate is Tony Chabert, co-owner of What's Brewing Roasters.
And if you want the freshest coffee, you got to know when it's roasted, right?
Absolutely. When you roast that coffee, you're really pulling the pin on the freshness of that coffee. You got about 2 to 3 weeks before the quality goes downhill.
So if you've got that big tub of coffee sitting in your pantry, you might want to take a look at it again.
Yes, indeed. We've got some great drip coffee right there. You want to know when it's roasted, and that's what they're all about. So, all right, and of course, Java Jen herself has some unique coffee blends.
Of course, you know I love my coffee. We're here at Texas Grounds Coffee Company, and they have a new location in Helotes. Look at me, I already drank most of this. Jennifer Howard's with me now. How are you guys giving back to the community?
Oh, great question. We actually have our roll call, our Defend blend, and our new DD214, which is coming out soon. And all the sales from the proceeds of those bags of coffee go directly to our community, law enforcement, and veterans. So come on by and grab a bag today. We also have our fantastic coffee cupping experience. You can come and create your own blend of coffee if you're a business, a church, or even a school. So come on by and see it.
All right, back to you guys.
And of course, it's National Coffee Day, so we want to go ahead, give a shout out to your favorite coffee shop.
And if you're looking for something to do and don't have a green thumb, go to the Home and Garden Show this weekend. We're going to preview that and expert advice on how to take care of all your fall plantings. That and a whole lot more on SA Live.
All right, it's 87 in San Antonio right now. We'll be up around 91 this afternoon. Sunny skies today, tomorrow. A little bit of added cloud cover Sunday, Monday, but no big deal. That'll bring temperatures down just a little bit, and overnight lows will be in the low 60s. All in all, I'd say that's a dub for us. A win.
Oh,
Lots of
man. There we go. All right. Well, we know what SA Live's all about. They're all about dubs, wins, right?
Yeah, always.
SA Live starts right
Now.
And today on SA Live, it is National Coffee Day, and we have Java Jen taking us to a local roastery with unique coffee blends.
Plus, this Texas native country singer performs his new single for us, and we show the location of his single release party.
And how to care for your fall plants this season organically while keeping those unwanted little pests out of your garden and taking care of the good ones.
Celebrate San Antonio. Coming to you live from historic Market Square. This is SA Live.
Oh, I love that.
Hello and happy Thursday on this National Coffee Day.
We have to practice that. We need anyway. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Osterhage.
And I'm Fiona Gorstiza. All right. Well, our first guest today is helping us get a jolt of caffeine to celebrate, as we just told you, National Coffee Day.
Yes, indeed. And Tony Chabert, from one of the co-owners of What's Brewing Coffee Roasters, is here with new seasonal menu items and just so much information about coffee that we never realized.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like a walking coffee dictionary over here. So,
All right. So what did you bring today?
Today we've got Guatemalan Calimax. My brother actually went to Guatemala about 6 months ago to visit the farm, meet the owners, meet the families that's running the farm, walk through, see the flowers on the trees, and just get an idea of where the coffee's coming from. And what we've got today is a pour over of our Guatemala Calimax, and we actually had a release party last night where we premiered the coffee, and we had the grower at the warehouse. We had a big party.
Go ahead.
You go directly to the source, right?
Absolutely. For our seasonal releases, we go to the farms, we go to the different countries of origin, and we meet the farmers and the families that grow the coffees.
Which is great to go directly to them and avoiding all the middlemen and everything like that, right?
Yeah, and learning the story, learning the background, and I mean, just the topology and the soil conditions. It's all very important about what comes out into the final cup.
All right, let's have a taste of that.
Sure.
And this is going to taste a whole lot different than the big pot of just store-bought stuff I bought.
A little bit, yeah. This was roasted 3 days ago, and like I was saying, coffee, once you roast it, you have about 2 to 3 weeks before it starts going stale. It's like a produce or a loaf of bread. Now, in this Guatemala, it's high grown. You're going to get a lot of citrus notes. You're going to get chocolate notes. You're going to get some nuttiness as well in the finish. And this does well in a cold brew or as just a percolator or just a drip coffee.
And so just roasted 3 days ago, and that's key, right, to knowing when something is
Absolutely.
roasted. So if folks have that big tub of coffee sitting still in their pantry,
yes,
explain why that loses its, zazazoo over time, right?
So we actually receive the coffee when it's green, and we cook it or roast the coffee, and that carbonizes all those sugars, and that's what gives you the kind of all those complex caramel and chocolatey flavors. But unfortunately, once you do roast it, the timer is really ticking. You have about 2 to 3 weeks before you start losing the aroma, and the aroma is what leads to all those great flavors with coffee.
And you said there's basically 2 different types of coffee beans. The ones that are grown en masse, right? That's the quantity, we'll say.
Robusta,
and then the quality, right?
Arabica is the one that's difficult to grow. It's on the sides of mountains, very steep. You can't use cultivators to harvest. All the cherries ripen at different stages. Everything's hand-picked. So there's a reason why there's a higher price tag on gourmet coffees than there are with the Robustas, because Arabicas have to be shaded. They have to be grown on the side of a mountain. They have to be between 55 degrees and the hottest they can get is up in the high 80s. After that, the leaves burn and the trees die. So there's very specific conditions to grow good coffee.
The high maintenance good coffee.
Yes. You also have some really good coffee drinks coming in here for fall, and perfect for Halloween as well, right?
Yeah, we have a spooky drink, our Monster Matcha, and it's actually not coffee, sorry, it's National Coffee Day, but it is Halloween, so we decided to do this one. It is our green matcha tea with some vanilla syrup, and then white chocolate syrup, so we've made spooky colors. We've got chocolate and 2 white chocolates, and then we just pour the matcha on top. And that's got about as much caffeine as a regular cup of coffee. So we're still representing the caffeine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then which one am I doing here?
That is the candy cane mocha. It's with the red syrup is the white chocolate. And then we have peppermint flavored mocha coffee in the pitcher. Mm-hmm. And all of these are available at our drive-through and Rhapsody location. That's our warehouse location.
When you go to your place, about how many different types of coffees do you have there, as far as coffee beans and ones to sample and you can take home?
It depends on the time of year, because like I said, these coffees are seasonal. We order small batches, so we might, but generally between 20 and 30 different coffees at any given time, plus the blends, plus the flavored coffees. So we're probably looking at hundreds of combinations that you can order.
Okay.
Our bean bar specifically has 30 at our warehouse location. Mm-hmm. That's our HQ. That's where we do all of our roasting, so you can come in, see the roasting operation Monday through Friday, and actually take home a pound of the coffee that we just roasted.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And then drink it within about 2 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
That's about
and then you're headed back into Folgers territory.
And he described that drinking coffee is almost like drinking wine.
Absolutely. So when you're tasting coffee, and you can, if you want, you can try it like this. I'll show you. We actually slurp the coffee, and that's to add oxygen to it in your mouth space. So what you want to do is.
Well, that does enhance the flavor.
Yeah. Right. So you're kind of aerating it. It's covering your palate better. Coffee's all about aroma.
So it's not rude to slurp your coffee.
It's not rude.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
That's fancy.
Thank you.
Okay, for more information on what's brewing, just head to our website, salive.com, and click on the As Seen on SA Live tab, where we've provided a link, or just scan that QR code on your screen.
All right, a lot of folks like a good cup of Joe.
Mm-hmm. So we want to know, give a shout out to your favorite local coffee shop. Tag us at SA Live KSAT on Facebook and Twitter, and you may see your answer in the show.
Mine is the pot on my counter.
I was going to say, the nearest one is the dearest one.
Not pre-programmed in the morning when I get up at 2 o'clock. It wrecks my whole day. So anyway, let us know, and hopefully maybe we can try them out sometime. So, all right, how about another cup of coffee on top of that?
Yes, please. Our Java Jen is out at Texas Grounds Coffee Company. Hey there, Jen.
Hey, I love that, Fiona. The nearest one is the dearest one. I'm all about that. Yes, and we are all about supporting local. We're here at Texas Grounds Coffee Co., and they have a new location. Been open about a month now. I have Jennifer Howard, one of the owners, joining me now. Tell me what's going on here.
We are super excited. Our second location is just a month old, but we are rocking and rolling. We have a drive-through. Come see us in Helotes. We're serving up wood-fired bagels, tons of varieties. We make all of our cream cheese here in-house. And then, of course, our bakery is still located in Old Town Helotes, and one of our most famous treats are our cream puffs. So if you take a look right here, we're going to add that chocolate right there for you.
Oh, my goodness.
And you can get a drive-through cream puff. So Besides the cream puffs and our fantastic bagels, we also roast in-house every day, fresh. And so you can grab a bag of freshly roasted coffee, and we do whole bean and ground in everything that we make.
And you have some coffee coming here. So these are your fall drinks. This is Philip, by the way, the other owner. Hey, Philip. So what do we have here, guys?
So we have our pumpkin spice latte. It's a classic, but we actually do it all year long. And then we also have our white pumpkin, which is white chocolate and pumpkin spice. But you can also get it blended. So that is something super special that we provide here.
And if you come in, you have a deal right now, right? If you buy and purchase coffee.
If you buy 3 bags, you get the 4th bag free. So you can mix and match. We have lots of different flavors. We have different single origins and blends.
And I think Philip's also going to do some latte art for us as well.
He is, yes.
But what are some other flavors that people come in for here at this location?
Some of our most favorite must get is our Samoa latte, and that can be blended as well. It's just like a Girl Scout cookie, so it's caramel, coconut, and mocha, and that's fantastic, especially with whipped cream and a drizzle on there. And then we also have our very popular apple pie latte, which is amazing as well. Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's great all year long.
Yes, sure.
And then, all right, Philip's going to show us his latte art skills. And now this location, oh, that's beautiful. Is that a heart, Philip?
Yes. Oh, beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
We always put love into all of our drinks.
Now, your other location is still up and running, super cute in Old Town Helotes.
Thank you.
Again, you roast beans there as well.
Yes.
The coffee cupping, tell me about how things are going there.
Fabulous. So that location is a full bakery. We have lots of different treats like triple layer brownies, apple strudel. We also have an entire upstairs, which is our bed and breakfast. So you can rent that on Airbnb and go across the street to Florist Country Store and go to a concert and then roll on back that same day, and then we love to roast there as well all day, every day.
Such a cute location.
Yes, thank you.
Again, the bakery options, you have a little bit more there as far as the bakery, right?
Yes, exactly. So that's our bakery location. This one is our bagel location, and what we love is that we have 2 in Helotes. So if you don't feel like unbuckling, you just come on by and we'll see you.
Yes, and then giving back to the community. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but it's so important to you guys. Tell me how you give back to local first responders.
It really is. That's something near and dear to our hearts. We have our roll call blend, which supports the local firefighters. We have the Defend blend, which supports our local police department, and then coming soon is the DD214, which supports our veteran community. So we absolutely love giving back to the community. We have a lot of schools that we're doing some charity baskets and things like that for, and then the local churches near us too.
And discounts for first responders as well,
yes,
right? Yes, can't forget about those discounts.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I need a straw, Jen, or
definitely.
Yes, let's get a straw
sure.
as we sample these fall drinks.
You
and
got
again,
it.
this location, if you're familiar with Helotes, is near the Walmart, near the high school as well,
yes,
right?
exactly. We are in the Marco's Pizza Strip Center.
There you go.
And right next to the Walmart in Helotes.
All right, 2 locations. I'm sure you're going to keep growing. Thank you, Jen.
Better believe
Thank you,
it.
Philip. And I think, should I try to attempt to eat one of these guys?
Oh, I would.
Fiona, Mike?
Yes.
You're going to help me, Jen?
You better believe it.
What do you think, guys?
Yes.
Should I attempt?
Yes.
Line them up. Actually, just line them up. This is
Okay.
this is like spring break, but for the older the older
wow.
generation. Yeah.
Go for it.
Line it up.
Line them up. Okay.
Yep.
You know I'm going to take a TV bite. Okay.
No, don't do a TV bite. If you don't wind up with all that all over your face, you know.
Go on.
Okay, there we go.
cheers,
There we
back to
go.
you.
There we go.
Okay.
Yes, cheers. Yes. Well, for more information on Texas Grounds Coffee Company, just head to our website, salive.com, click on the As Seen on SA Live tab, or just scan that QR code right there on your screen.
All right, when SA Live continues, we're grilling for good. We go inside the local barbecue event that's benefiting local first responders.
And we hear a special performance of the new single from Jerry De Leon and Southbound ahead of their release party happening tomorrow.